Roughly half of new business establishments do not make it to year 5 or 6. But that statistic hides a second problem. Survival does not mean freedom. A business can survive and still become a job the owner can never quit. That is why asking, when should I quit, is usually the wrong first question. Most people answer with a number: $3,000 a month, $10,000 a month, or salary replacement. But revenue is only volume. It does not tell you if demand is durable, if margins work, if you want the job you are creating, if you have runway, or if you can recover if the bet fails. The leap is not one decision, it is 5 tests. These are not levels. You do not climb them, you test them. The 5 thresholds are demand, margin, identity, capital, and reversibility. Together, they ask, can this become a business without trapping you? Before money, start with what people measure too late, whether customers return after the excitement fades. The demand threshold. Before talking about profit, measure demand. Revenue without durable demand is just luck with a deadline. You cross the demand threshold when you have at least 12 months of repeat customer data. And at least 60% of buyers come from outside friends, family, coworkers, or audience goodwill. Cold customers reveal whether the market wants the offer without a personal reason to support you. Maria sells ceramic mugs on Etsy. One video goes viral. She sells out in 9 days and starts calculating when she can quit. 4 months later, traffic is down, repeat buyers are thin, and she cannot tell whether people wanted the mugs or the moment. Devon does freelance design. No viral post, no dramatic launch, but he has 8 retainer clients across 18 months. Boring demand, repeatable demand, the kind you can plan around. The mistake is confusing attention with demand. A spike can pay you once. A business needs people to return without needing a new miracle every quarter. But stable demand can still destroy you if every sale is secretly underpriced. The margin threshold. The margin threshold asks a colder question. After every real cost, does the business still pay enough to be worth the risk? You cross this threshold when gross margin stays at or above 40% after ingredients, packaging, platform fees, payment processing, software, rent, returns, failed orders, and your own time priced at a real hourly rate. This is where phantom revenue appears. Phantom revenue is money that looks real inside Etsy, Shopify, Square, Stripe, or PayPal, but disappears once you count what it costs to earn it. Etsy charges a 20-cent listing fee and a 6.5% transaction fee. Shopify Basic starts at $29 per month when paid yearly, with card rates from 2.9% plus 30 cents. Square's standard in-person fee is 2.6% plus 15 cents. Nina runs a candle brand doing $5,000 per month revenue. After wax, jars, labels, shipping boxes, damaged packages, marketplace fees, ads, and her labor, her margin is 12%. She is not close to quitting. She is buying a second job. Omar runs a barbecue pop-up with the same $5,000 per month revenue. He uses pre-orders, a limited menu, upfront payment, and low waste. His margin is near 50%. Same revenue, different business. Margin is math. The next threshold is harder because no spreadsheet can tell you who you want to become. The identity threshold. The identity threshold is the one most people skip because it sounds emotional. It is not, it is structural. You are choosing between 2 jobs. Path A is the craftsperson. You stay close to the product or service. You do the design, the lashes, the photography, the coaching, the cooking. The business stays smaller, but it may be more profitable, more controlled, and more aligned with why you started. Path B is the operator. You manage hiring, pricing, sales, systems, customer support, vendor problems, legal issues, and cash flow. You may touch the original craft less every year. Helena is a lash artist who chooses Path A. She raises prices, limits clients, refuses a second location, and builds a small business that fits her life. It does not impress everyone online. It works. Priya sells an online course and thinks she wants scale. Then scale arrives as ad testing, funnels, refunds, affiliates, support tickets, and contractors. She likes teaching. She did not like operating the business around teaching. The mistake is letting revenue choose your identity. If you want craft, design for craft. If you want operations, design for operations. But do not build an operator's business and resent it for pulling you away from the work. Knowing your path matters. Even the right path fails without runway. The capital threshold. The capital threshold asks whether you can survive the first serious downturn without desperate decisions. You cross it when you have 3 layers covered: 12 months of personal expenses, 6 months of business operating costs, and 1 emergency buffer for a major shock. Equipment failure, illness, lawsuit, seasonality crash, supplier disruption, or a delayed opening. The first year full-time can create a valley of death. Your paycheck no longer hides weak months. Stress rises, mistakes cost more. JP Morgan Chase Institute found that the median small business held only 27 cash buffer days. That is not much room for a broken truck, a failed launch, or a slow quarter. Federal Reserve survey data also shows how common debt tools are for employer firms. Business loans, lines of credit, and credit cards all show up heavily in the funding stack. Debt is normal. Debt is not validation. Tom opens a food truck with $80,000 cash, a repair buffer, and realistic seasonality assumptions. When the truck breaks for 11 days, the business suffers but survives. Aisha opens a lash studio with $15,000 cash and a small loan. She forgets build-out delays, rent deposits, software, and the slow first quarter. The studio opens, but the runway is already gone. Capital tells you how long you can keep playing. The next threshold tells you what happens if the game goes badly. The reversibility threshold. The reversibility threshold asks the question almost nobody puts in the thumbnail. If this fails after 2 years, can you return to your old life? Some leaps are two-way doors, others are not. Jeff Bezos has written about the difference between reversible decisions and one-way door decisions. Your job is to know which one you are making before you resign. High reversibility belongs to freelancers, consultants, contractors, and people whose skills stay visible through client work. Medium reversibility belongs to sales, marketing, and operations roles, where you can return but maybe at lower pay or title. Low reversibility belongs to specialized senior tracks, where 2 years away can cool your network and weaken your credibility. Jasmine is a freelance photographer and designer. She quits with $20,000 cash. On paper, that looks risky, but she has clients, portfolio, and a path back into contract work. Her downside is real but flexible. Victor has $200,000 cash and a senior niche operations role. He looks safer, but if he leaves for 2 years, his old lane may not reopen at the same level. More cash does not always mean lower risk. The safest leap is often high reversibility with low capital need. The most dangerous leap is low reversibility with high capital need. Now stop asking if you feel ready. Ask how many thresholds you can prove. If you score 5 out of 5, the leap may be rational. Not guaranteed, just rational. You have durable demand, real margin, identity fit, capital runway, and a path back if the bet breaks. At 4/5, leap only if the missing threshold can be fixed within 6 months. If demand is strong but capital is weak, delay. If capital is strong but identity is unclear, delay. At 3/5, do not leap yet. This is not failure. It may be wisdom. Ben, a fitness coach, has strong demand, decent margin, and identity fit, but no capital buffer and weak reversibility. Staying employed while building the last 2 thresholds is risk control. At 2/5, it may still be valuable, but not ready to replace income. At 1/5, treat it as paid learning, not a transition plan. A W-2 job plus a strong side hustle can outperform full-time entrepreneurship. More freedom sometimes comes from not forcing the leap. At the beginning, the question was, when should you quit your job for your side hustle? But that is only half the question. The better question is, what would have to be true before quitting becomes rational instead of emotional? A successful side hustle is not always the one that becomes a full-time small business. Sometimes it is the one that gives you options. You can leap, wait, keep the job, or stay small on purpose. The 5 thresholds are not there to push you into entrepreneurship. They are there to show you when not to leap. This week, track one number for 30 days. Real gross margin. Include platform fees, payment fees, packaging, software, failed orders, returns, and your time. That number will tell you more than revenue ever did.